2025, Lenawee County Board of Commissioners Accounts Payable Committee. First order of business would be approval of the minutes of April 3rd, 2025.
So move.
Support.
By Commissioner Martis, supported by Administrator Murphy. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 No, motion carried. We will be looking at the accounts payable run on 4-7. And question.
I don't have much on either run actually, but I do have just a basic question on page 2, the elevator service contracts. I see they're both about $23 and $2,700. Is that monthly?
Yes, yes, I do believe that is a monthly service to keep the elevators well maintained.
Oh, wow, about
And we
$60,000 a
do
year.
have it for several different
Oh, those are expensive.
Buildings.
Yeah.
You
courthouse.
keep in mind, we have elevator here. We have multiple elevators at the judicial building. We have them at the sheriff's building. We
It's
have them
all-
at Human Services building. We have them at the annex building. We have elevators on numerous buildings.
Right.
Okay, so it's not for each individual, it's for the whole group of the elevators. Okay.
Well, but it is broken down for, yeah, there's 2 different entries. One's for buildings and ground. Well, I guess they're both buildings and ground, but it looks like they may be for different,
Facilities.
yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. It's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's the wrong price. I'm just surprised that it's that much money. Guess I won't put one in my house. No, you're looking at me. Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, everybody is like, Martis, are you gonna talk? You never shut up. That's all I had on the first run.
Okay, it's a 4-8 run. I apologize. I said 4-7. On page 2, the jail cooler and freezer equipment, a couple charges there are coming up to about $16,000. Is that a replacement? Is that what?
I believe it was a repair for the a piece of like a walk-in freezer, but I would have to double check with the jail.
That's what it was. If you recall, it was a number of months ago. I think that project came forward through physical resources. There was some work that needed to be done on the walk-in freezer and it was fairly expensive. And so that's what you're seeing here. That project was finally completed and invoiced.
Okay,
Those are also ARPA related.
Yeah, it's ARPA funds.
right. And then on page 7, tell me about the police officers, PAAM,
POAM,
prosecuting attorney, PAAM,
sorry.
or PACC. Anyways, it's almost $10,000 for an intern program.
Yes, I believe what's happening there is we are getting a summer intern, but we are paying Pam to provide that for the entirety of the summer, and they will pay the intern. We just pay Pam up front.
Okay, so it's reimbursable.
I can't remember the prosecuting attorney.
Press.
Prosecuting, and Pam is the Prosecuting Attorneys Association of Michigan.
Okay, so it's a reimbursable.
Uh,
They're paying for it.
I don't believe it's reimbursable. What we're doing is we are contracting with Pam to get an intern in the prosecutor's office. And so they're paying a fee to Pam for that. And then Pam is paying the intern directly.
Okay,
So we're not paying the intern directly, we're paying Pam.
okay. Gotcha. And then the probate court, we had a couple charges in there. One for Brandon McNamee for 3,000. Do we pay final bills for appeal?
Yes, we do have to supply an appellate attorney when we have, it is the court's responsibility to supply a appellate attorney for cases that are getting appealed.
Interesting. Okay. A lot of it comes back to the county, huh? treasurer's office, just tell me what, 100% pre-granted, that's taxes?
Yes, that's a primary residence exemption.
Okay. Boy, we had a number of those, huh?
Mhm.
Are those throughout the whole county?
Yes, I believe so. That's anywhere that is paying property taxes to the county.
So every so often, somebody may have to, they pay their taxes, but then they may want to come back later and say that they should have been granted a 100% personal residence exemption. Maybe they didn't have the original paperwork filed properly or something. And so once that paperwork is filed appropriately, then they are able to get reimbursed back because now they have a 100% exemption where they didn't before.
And so those are all, must be due at a specific time because all of them come up at once.
In this case, there were quite a few that came up around. There's a timing that goes along with that. A lot of it has to do with the March Board of Review. And when people are looking at their property values and their exemptions and that sort of thing. So we just came through that process. So I believe that's why you're seeing a number of them on this particular run.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So that's all I had for that. Does anybody, go ahead.
Just one other question. This looks like Department of Aging on page 5, Custer's Incorporated. And when I Googled that, that appears to be a dairy. Is that-
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
They provide dairy supplies for
'cause it-
the senior centers.
Because at Maury Spears, it was labeled as food, and then there wasn't such a label here for this one. That's so, okay, that's all.
I would just like to comment, sometimes that's very interesting because whoever it is that's inputting the invoice at the time, there's a small area for a project or for an invoice description.
Mhm.
And we will sometimes see very interesting descriptions on those invoices, and they can be the same type of invoice, but a different department will describe them differently. So I know sometimes we push back on some of the descriptions that we see because we want to make sure that there is some consistency. So that's, I think, what you're seeing there.
I just had this discussion with my own accountant last month. Like, what is this for? I don't know. Shoot.
And Paul gets to sort all those out, right?
And he does a great job with that, yes.
Thank you for that clarity.
Right. Okay, we're on the 415 run. Guess I'll start out on
Yeah.
page 1. Refresh my memory on judges' liability insurance. They buy it, we reimburse them.
Yes, that is correct. I think we ran into an issue when we were supplying the liability insurance. Also, it was found that it's just easier to let the judges get the liability insurance that they need and then reimburse them for that cost.
And that's absolutely correct. A number of years ago, we did carry the judges on our liability insurance as a result of a few different situations. There was an agreement that the judges would be removed from, the judicial tenure insurance would be removed from our liability policy. The judges would pick up their own liability policy, but that the county would reimburse them for said liability insurance. We don't pay their insurance company directly. They pay, they send us proof of payment, and then we reimburse them back. That it was basically just an agreement. There's no set policy or procedure established for that. That was just an agreement that was reached probably 6 or 7 years ago anyway. And it's just carried forward since then.
And that agreement was between the judges and,
I know, I'm not sure if it came before the Board of Commissioners or not. It was previous administration. I would have to go back and look to see what that was.
and this probably predates you, but is there any reason why they did that? I mean, what was the reasoning?
I believe that there was some concern among the judges that they originally were covered by the county, and then due to certain circumstances beyond some judges' control, the county pushed back and said, we're not covering you any longer. And so there was kind of a compromise made that if you get your own insurance, the county will reimburse you, but and so therefore any claim that you have will go against your own insurance, is not going to go against the county's insurance, but we will reimburse you for your policy. It was I believe, a compromised agreement.
And is there limits set on that so that all the judges are the same, or, I mean,
The price varies slightly depending on their insurance carrier. They each have a different carrier that they go through. But the cost is relatively the same for each judge.
okay. So it must be the same amount of liability, pretty well close to each one of them. In your conversations, I've probably never come up before, but with other administrators, what do other counties do?
Not ask that question.
Be interesting, okay. Okay. Page 2, could just under building and grounds, what's EBI services? Only because it was $8,000. I just don't know what the acronym is.
So the building and grounds, I'm not sure what the acronym is, but I know it's for a program. I believe the acronym is a company. It's the program that allows building and grounds to monitor our different systems, like our heat. And
Okay,
that way they don't have to physically visit every building, or they can know about a problem ahead of time.
thank you. Love acronyms. Just for, again, this probably goes back to the other one with the other courts, but on circuit courts, we had a bunch of attorney fees there, some of them pretty substantial, so again, we pay for the attorney fees.
Yes, these are appellate attorneys. My mistake. Yes, we pay for the appellate attorneys for circuit court as well. It is deemed.
Lovely. Go to the deep pockets, right? Go to the county. This was an interesting one. Just for my information, nobody may know this, probably not a good question, but we have beavers in Lenawee County.
That is correct. I reached out to the Drain Commission regarding this. We do have beavers migrating in the west part of the county. They are setting up dams at Posey Lake, which is causing flooding and creating issues for the residents there.
Unbelievable. I didn't know there were, I thought you had to go to Canada to see a beaver, so.
There are all kinds of things in AP, don't you?
Yeah, right.
Also, a portion of that price is actually tearing down the dams as well.
Well, maybe in the future bear traps, because I see they're migrating further south, so
See that
Maybe.
too.
beavers and bears. Oh, my. Okay. I'm looking here. Go ahead.
I'll throw one at you. Page 9, it's just, I need to understand the acronym at Maury Spears. I see BOU and GOU, and I tried to define those abbreviations and could not.
I know
That
that
is-
one, boys open unit and girls open
Got
unit.
it. That makes sense. Maybe if I would take a tour one day, I would know.
Well, if you're on criminal justice, you'd be on the board over there, and then you'd
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I'm happy not being on criminal.
I had a hard time with that when I first started too. I'm going, what is that?
Got it.
You got another one?
That's actually the last one I had.
Okay, well, I've got, and I know you've told me this, Kim, but just to refresh my memory. So, youth incentive cards. Okay, there's an audit system for those, right?
These are the ones at Morris Spear campus.
Probate.
Or probate court? Yes, there is. That is something that our finance director, Dan Zamolzak, has been working with the probate court to make sure that they have a policy and procedures in place. They had something a little bit more informal, but we are working with them to make sure there's a more formalized process so that those can be audited very easily.
But it sounds like from everything I've heard, everything's been above board. There's no issues. It's just a
Correct.
matter of putting in correct controls.
Correct.
Perfect.
Good. And then on page 12, Sedum Spring Conference for 3,000 must have been for a number of people, right? I hope it's not $3,000 for one conference.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I believe it was 4 or 6.
Okay, thank you. And on page 13 is Underwood Law, a contract service for,
Looks like it.
yeah, it's 15,000, it's almost 15,005.
Yes, that is one of the conflict attorneys. She in particular, bills for all of her cases. If you look above them, there's just several smaller amounts because they bill per case. This is just for a multiple amount of cases.
Okay,
For like a year or 6 months or any rough idea?
I believe that it was for a month, or it was either for a month or 3 months. I'm not certain.
Okay.
I would be able to get that information to you.
that's all I had on that run.
Yeah, I have nothing else either.
Anybody else? Hearing none, motion would be in order to pay the vouchers.
So move.
Support.
A motion by Commissioner Bartis, supported by Administrator Murphy. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Other business to be brought before accounts payable. No public comment. We have no public here today. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Administrator Murphy. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried.